Hi, everybody. This is Aaron Mesh with Willamette Week. Today on Distant Voices, I'm pleased to have Peter Walters, a man known as the unofficial mayor of Pendleton, Oregon, who can chat with us a little bit about what it's like to live in a place that was reopened after the pandemic and then shut right back down. Pendleton is one of two major cities in Umatilla County. The other is Hermiston. Hermiston is probably, it's safe to say at this point, the epicenter of Oregon's COVID outbreak. Pendleton's been hit a little less hard, but the cumulative effect is that Umatilla County is now back in lockdown. Pete, how are you?
You know, it just riding the waves.
What's your summer been like?
Well, definitely a lot of changes in plans. I've got a couple of partners and I put on a music festival here in town that was supposed to happen in June. Obviously that got scuttled. And beyond that, my summers are usually concerts and putting on concerts, helping out with the rock and roll camp here in town. For kids and stuff. So really my life is mostly events. And so this summer has definitely been a huge slowdown for me.
So it's early evening. You told me when we got on the phone that you were thinking about taking a late afternoon nap just because there wasn't a whole lot else to do in Pendleton at the moment.
Yeah, it's been really hot too. So that's kind of contributed to it.
Do you know people who've gotten sick out there?
Yeah, totally. I've even had a couple of coworkers who have come down with it and been have come down with it, beaten it, and come back to work. And I work for a beer distributor here in town, a beer and wine distributor. Do the graphics design and sign making for them, and so a lot of my coworkers are guys delivering beer, selling beer, going from store to store, going to Hermiston, coming back to Pendleton, driving to LeGrand, coming, out in Union County and coming back to Pendleton. So, that's been a little, I'm certainly not out in the thick of it like some of my coworkers are. But yeah, it's definitely, it's felt like something that is just kind of eerily ever present everywhere you go.
So you've already described for me what the mood is like, which is sort of like it's eerie.
It's also just really contentious too.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, there's definitely a big, vast population in this community that doesn't take this as serious as other people do, and I think part of it is political. I think a big part of it is we're in a more conservative area, and I think that it's pretty obvious that the conservative forces that be out there have been downplaying the seriousness of this whole situation. And it really shows, because there's while I haven't personally witnessed any kind of like crazy Karen moments or something like that out of the grocery store, but you definitely get this sense when you're dealing with people just in the community, whether it's getting gas or going grocery shopping or something. You definitely get the sense from some people that they're just kind of disgusted by being asked to wear a mask. They're kind of scoffing at just the level of care that everything has kind of gone to.
Into this tremendous atmosphere. You have the governor re-shutting down the county. How are people taking that, as far as you can tell?
You see a lot of people who are blaming all of this on the governor. You're seeing a lot of people on, locals on social media are having these big arguments on like the newspaper's Facebook page and stuff like that about like how the governor is just trying to put us out of business because the they don't like Eastern Oregon, they don't this or that, and it sucks. And I don't necessarily, I'm not crazy about the governor either, but in certain aspects, but it's like it's a rock and a hard place for her. Either she lets the public health crisis go and potentially lose control of that situation, or she's going to turn a lot of people against her by forcing businesses closed again. And
business owners in town, how are they handling it?
There's definitely some business owners who are just plugging away, trying to make the best of the situation. They aren't blaming anybody for their fortune, and they realize that everybody's kind of going through the same thing. And those people have been doing a really good job of trying to keep going. And some businesses have really played the victim, as if not everybody's going through this sort of thing. And so that's been kind of sad, because some places in town have been, really kind of talking, saying kind of irresponsible things in a way, basically kind of playing down the seriousness of this thing, And
what do you mean by playing down? What kind of things are they saying?
Well, I think a lot of people think that servers wearing masks is unreasonable, or I think there are some restaurants and stuff that were thought that socially just all these things are just too much to have to do, so we'll just kind of do a performative compliance, and then from there we'll just actually be very lax in the way we do it. But you see a lot of hatred towards the governor for things. I've ridden my bike just the other day past the recall Kate Brown petitioners standing outside with no masks on, and they under a tent, just trying to they do it in the Walmart parking lot, they do it in the and it's usually older white people who are just this is their third time they've tried to recall Kate Brown.
It's kind of a summer tradition in Oregon now.
It really is, yeah. It actually is. And you look at these octogenarians sitting out there in the sun with no masks on, trying to recall the governor for something that, let's face it, it's Trump's fault. That's what it comes down to for me. So it's pretty ridiculous. The town itself isn't it doesn't feel shut down sometimes, it still feels like there's plenty of things happening. There's still people playing softball in the parks and things like that, and there's still that kind of general you'll be driving by some houses or something and see a big barbecue, big party going on in somebody's backyard, or you'll see somebody having a big big gathering and stuff, and you start wondering these are people that otherwise you might have gone to their barbecue or their whatever, and so it's you don't want to have to tell them, hey, that's super irresponsible, but at the same time it's but it's I think that the people in Pendleton mostly blame the shutdown, mostly on Kate Brown, but also on Hermiston. That's another long-standing Pendleton tradition, is to blame things on Hermiston. It definitely, when people talk about it and we say you make the argument that we opened up a little too early. The county commissioners were too quick to try to get us back into open phase or whatever, and people will say it's just the meat packing places, it's just the agriculture places in Hermiston, it's just those places, and I don't think that's as true as people think. You know, I think that you're going to start seeing outbreaks in Pendleton, probably from parties and barbecues.